Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. The God of yesterday, God of today, and God of tomorrow. We pause now just to lift up your name and give you thanks. We thank you for what you've done. We thank you, God, for what you are doing. And we are bold enough to thank you for what you're going to do. For we know that you still have work for us as African Americans to do. God, we know that you brought us from a mighty long way, but there are times when we become weary and we fall asleep at the wheel. But God, wake us up. Remind us that the journey is not yet complete. We thank you for those who are going to be honored tonight. We thank you for the work that they've done, and we pray, God, that you will sustain them with your love, your grace, and your mercy as they continue to reach out in the places where you placed them. Be in our heads, be in our hearts, be in our thoughts. Let what we do and what we say be honorable unto you, and God, continue to give Luth and Roxanne what they need to continue to do the work that they are doing in the name of Jesus Christ with much thanksgiving and praise. Amen. Amen.
So some of you have been here before at our Achievers. Our Mistress of Ceremony, Ms. Jackie Dixon, will keep us uplifted all evening, I guarantee you. So I would like to ask her if she would come forward and share the rest of the evening with you. And so please welcome Ms. Jackie Dixon.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you. I'm happy to be back again. I don't know if this is my 5th year, 6th year, 7th year, but you keep asking for me to come back, so I'm very, very happy. One of the reasons you asked for me to come back is, you know, I'm not going to keep you long. We are not going to be here all night. We don't have any preachers to recognize tonight. We don't have any seasoned politicians. We have politicians, but not any seasoned ones. So we won't be here a long time. That's not to offend anybody, but I'm just telling you, I'm just saying, we will be out of here so you can go into the casino, you can go home, you can go wherever you can go to the Savoy, you can go downstairs, you can go to church, because church starts at 7 o'clock, so you're going to miss that. But you can go anywhere that you need to go because we will not be here all night. But we have some wonderful honorees, and I'm very happy to be able to have them presented tonight. First, I always give thanks to God for being here and being able to get up before you and for your presence here. But I also, after I do that, I like to give recognition to Luth and Roxanne because they do the serious Now, most of the people we are honoring tonight, I think I know some of them, but I would say they're probably overachievers. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they said, well, you know how we overachievers are, don't you? And I said, no, I don't. So while I am retired, I am not working, but I'm working every day. I was at an event just before I came here. But I think it's a great thing when you are retired and you can give back and you don't have to worry about it. Getting up at 6 o'clock, which you always have something every day. So I guess our next presenter will be Lorraine Cook-Cross, community and civil rights activist. Is she here? Would you come up, please? Come on, Lorraine, we're gonna get out of here now, clock now. Good
evening. Jackie, I'm sorry I wasn't moving fast enough. These hills are a little higher than I normally will. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is an honor to be able to present these higher achievers. But I would like to also thank Roxanne and Luther for all that they do as well. My first awardee will be the Honorable Rikell S. Ford. Rikell Ford is a 2001 graduate of Clairton High School, a 2004 graduate from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, where she obtained a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice. She also obtained a Master's of Arts in Criminal Justice Administration from California University of Pennsylvania in 2009, a Master of Social Work with a certificate in Child Welfare from the University of Pittsburgh in 2017, while completing Strength-Based Family Worker Credentializing Program through Temple University. In the fall, she will begin her journey towards earning a PhD in Community Engagement at Point Park University. Currently, she is employed by the Allegheny County Department of Human Service, Children, Youth, and Families as a peer coach specialist, where she mentors staff and conferencing with families. Her own family is a priority, as she is the daughter of the Deputy Mayor of Clairton, Richard Ford, and Georgia Ford, and the mother of 10-year-old Lynne Ford. Rikell is the first Vice President of Zeta Phi Beta Seniority, Inc. Right, Rikell is featured in the book YNG BLK PGH Young Black Pittsburgh. To encourage young community members, Rikell aims to show the love of God through her life by empowering others and through justice, social justice. So allow me to present to some and introduce to others. The Honorable.
I said, am I supposed to say something? So, I'll say thank you to Mr. Soul for acknowledging me, as a minority achiever. Gandhi says, be the change that you want to see in the world. So anything that I do is because I want to be the change that I want everyone else to do. I do this for our young people. Let me thank God first. I want to thank God also. But all week, it has been on my heart to encourage people that are in higher levels of anything, employment, in the community, to take a young person under your wing and mentor them. You're not going to be here forever. So there needs to be someone in place that is able to take that spot for you, that's going to be able to do the same work that you did. And I want my person to be better than what I do. So I encourage you to be a mentor to a young person and to instill in them everything that was instilled in you and more. God bless you all, and thank you again.
Thank you. Also, I just want to correct, her daughter's name is Lynne L. Okay. Next, we have Dr. Albertha Graham Ellison, educator and children and youth advocate. She also is the Vice President and Program Director of Educating Teens about HIV and AIDS, Inc. She is an educator, a trainer, and a volunteer, and is committed to improving the quality of life of her community and its children. She has a PhD in Administrative and Policy Studies, International Development Education, Doctoral Studies in Child Development, and Special Education from the University of Pittsburgh, a Master's in Child Development and Early Childhood Education, Ellison Institute, and a BS in Biology. She is also a graduate of Leadership Pittsburgh. Dr. Graham Ellison is a retired professor from California University of Pennsylvania. While at California University, she held many positions, including State Training Officer, Affirmative Action Human Relation Officer, Direction of the Women's Centers, created a mentoring program for female students. Dr. Graham Ellison has been working in HIV/AIDS prevention education for over 30 years. She has received numerous awards and recognitions, including the New Pittsburgh Courier Women of Excellence Award in 2010. She is the proud mother of Teri L. L. Ellison. Without further ado, allow me to introduce
Thank you very much. And hello to everyone. I want to thank God. This child from South Carolina is here with me tonight. And I enjoy what I do. And I believe that my God-given direction is to make sure I do everything that I can for children and youth. We have to make sure that we begin teaching them much earlier. We can't wait until they're teenagers to begin trying to teach them the right thing to do. So I invite and ask that each one of you try to reach out to some child and see if you can make a difference in their lives. Because there's too much going on with our kids, specifically the boys and young men. It is frightening. Every day there's something going on, and that shouldn't be. So let's all try to work together and make a difference in the lives of our children. Thank you so much for listening to Roxanne. I met Luther several years ago. Both Luther and Roxanne, they've been wonderful and have done a tremendous job. And congratulations and thank you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Since both of our awardees were educators, I always tell some education jokes, you know. They're not dirty. No. I know you feel bad about that. There was a teacher who told a student, whoever answers my next question can go home. And one boy threw his bag out of the window, and the teacher said, "Who just threw that?" And he said, "Me. Now I can go home." You know, I thought we'd have some potatoes back there because, well, I don't eat potatoes. They're my favorite vegetable because potatoes make French fries, they make chips, and they make vodka. It's like the other vegetables aren't even trying. So, moving on, let's go to the next Honorable Monda Williams, Washington, PA City Council presenter. Is she here? And Monda, if you have two people to present, you're welcome to sit at the table so In the interest of time, you don't have to walk all the way back. Welcome. Thank you.
Good evening. I've already been introduced. My name is Mama Williams, City Councilwoman of the City of Washington, and I'm honored to be here once again with the Top Magazine family. Thank you for continuing to keep me in a loop and invite me back, and I'm definitely honored to be here tonight to present an awardee who I have known both professionally and politically, Dr. Rueben Brock. Dr. Rueben Brock is an assistant professor of psychology at California University of Pennsylvania. He earned a bachelor's degree from the University of Pittsburgh and went on to earn a master's degree in counseling from California University of PA. Dr. Brock received a National Fellowship through the American Psychological Association during his doctoral training at West Virginia University, where he earned a PhD in counseling psychology. In addition to maintaining a private counseling practice in McMurray, PA, Dr. Brock is an author and speaker, regularly traveling the country to lecture on topics ranging from goal achievement and decision-making to cultural diversity. Dr. Brock most recently entered the political arena, setting out to be the first person of color ever elected to the State House to represent Washington County. Although he came up 300 votes short in the May 2018 primary, Dr. Brock made major waves in southwestern Pennsylvania politics, leading many to believe that there could be a future for him as a politician. I am not in Dr. Brock's district, but I have at least supported him, and I hope that you continue in your political endeavors, and I'm honored to be here with the Top Magazine family.
Good evening. Good evening. When I threw my hat into the ring and went for the special nomination for the 18th Congressional District, I immediately started hearing from folks that said, you know, a black man could never win in this district. And even when I turned my sights to state rep and ultimately was not successful, I had people coming to me and contacting me and saying, don't underestimate the degree to which your race influenced your race.
Yeah, right now.
Right? And it made me think, I wondered, what is it about me that makes it so that I never considered that I couldn't win? And so I think back to my mother who's here, and the fact that back in 1978, her and my father set out to buy a home for their family, and they decided they wanted to move to a section of Washington that they thought was a nice area, but that black folks had never lived in. Okay. And needless to say, the neighborhood wasn't too keen on a black family moving in, and they even attempted to band together and buy the house out from under my father. But here we are 40 years later, and my mother has raised 3 very successful children from that home. I guess you could say I was raised in a way that did not allow me to see the boundaries that they would have me believe are there for me. And so I truly believe that there will one day be a black representative from Washington County, whether that be at the county level, the state level, or even the congressional level. And so if there's anything that I've achieved, I hope that it is that I showed folks it can be done.
That's right.
Because although I did not win, folks said, well, you know what? That guy's got something. It could happen. And so I hope that folks remember that before there was a Barack Obama, there was a Jesse Jackson. And so Jesse Jackson had to go first and show folks what could be done. If I have to be the Jesse Jackson in this story, I'm okay with that. But they say I'm young, and there's still time for me, so don't count me out yet.
Oh, that was so good, I guess we all go home now. Dr. Brock, what is the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? And I read today, it said that if you say, I hate my mother, a psychiatrist will ask, why do you say that? Whereas a psychologist will say, thank you for sharing that with us. I don't know, maybe we have some conversation, you can explain that to me. Okay, let's see. I have some things that I want to present to you that were given to me to be read, and one is about Social Justice Sunday. We're voting for justice. It's free and open to the public. Let's see, the guest speaker is Reverend Dr. Forrest Harris, President of the American Baptist College. It's Sunday, September the 30th, 2018, at Ebenezer Baptist Church. If you don't know where that is, that's where Brother Kate goes to church, so everybody knows. Okay. Luncheon Ebenezer, and the food pantry, and reception will follow. So, if you're interested in this, Brenda has information for you. Sounds very good. Also, the MAG Voter Project is here and alive, and there are subscription forms, Talk Magazine has subscription forms, and the last one is TMAG's 2018 African American Latino Roundtable, free bus transportation. And the bus is air conditioned. I've been on this trip from Pittsburgh to Harrisburg. Well, it is. And it's comfortable. I've been on this trip before. It's October the 10th, 2018. The bus leaves Pittsburgh from the Hill House, 1835 Center Avenue, at 4:45 a.m., and that is Eastern Standard Time. Now, tell people time, okay? Wednesday, October 10th. Bus leaves Harrisburg Crown Plaza Hotel at 4:00 p.m. If you're not on the bus at that time, you're going to have to catch a jitney back to Pittsburgh. Wednesday, October 10th. So we're going up that morning and coming back that evening. Arriving in Pittsburgh approximately 8:00 p.m. To reserve your seat, call 412-823-4007 or contact talkminorityactiongroup.org no later than October the 1st, 2018. Seats on a first-come basis. Reserve early. Okay? You got it? You got it. Okay. See you on the bus. Okay. I have one more psychologist joke. Since you were so good. You were so good in that speech. That was like the speech of the day, you know. A patient says to a psychologist, "Doctor, I feel like such a failure." And the doctor says, "Anyone who can pay my fees is certainly not a failure." Okay. Oh, this special award presentation is given by Talk Magazine's, it's given to Talk Magazine's 2018 Person of the Year, Lynne Hayes, Freeland. My friend. I've been on this show several times, and And I just love Lynne because she always puts me on the spot. She asks me these crazy questions, and you gotta think real fast. Because she's used to this stuff, you know, and you're sitting there, and she goes, well, Jackie, what do you think about such and such and such? You better have an answer real fast because you're on TV. So, I don't know who's making this presentation. Is it me? Oh, it's you. The man who took all the turkey. I didn't get the last of the turkey. I didn't get any. I'm going to UPMC.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And let's give Jackie Dixon a round of applause. She always makes it wonderful to be here. And I think she meant, make sure she goes to Highmark. I think that's what she meant. Yeah. And to Roxanne Lucasol, thank you for what you're doing. You continue to shine a spotlight on leaders in our community. We appreciate that. Thank you. So, my name is Evan Frazier. I'm the Senior Vice President of Community Affairs for Highmark Health, and it is really a pleasure to be here, and particularly today to honor one of our favorite people here in Pittsburgh, Ms. Lynne Hayes Freeland, as the Person of the Year. But first, before I share some of her background, I just wanted to also acknowledge all of the honorees that are here today. What an amazing group of folks. Some of them I have known for many years, Dr. Graham, and some more recently, like Summer Lee, and others who I've met today. So it's a wonderful cross group of folks, so congratulations to you all. So most of you, I assume all of you know Lynne Hayes Freeland. She is a graduate of St. Paul Cathedral, now part of Oakland Catholic, and also Duquesne University. Ms. Hayes Freeland is a general assignment reporter known for live, late-breaking reporting news with KDK TV News. Most notably, she's the producer and the host of the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show, a weekly half-hour show dedicated to local African-American issues. Had the wonderful opportunity to be a part of her show over the years, and she is just what an amazing person of how she illuminates the important issues for our community. Ms. Hayes Freeland began her amazing broadcast career as producer of The Roy Fox Show on KDK Radio, and has held a variety of positions ever since, producing notable work such as Evening Magazine program and creating Weekend Magazine. She also produced KDK's annual Children's Hospital Free Care Fund Telethon. As a result of those efforts, Lynne was named Director of Community Programs until her move to the News Department. An active member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Ms. Hayes Freeland has also been very actively involved in a variety of community service work, including sitting on many local boards. Her work has been recognized by organizations both locally and nationally. But let me tell you a couple other things about Ms. Lynne Hayes Freeland. She deeply loves her community, and she deeply loves her family. And so she is here tonight with her very talented and lovely daughter, Kristen, who's here with her tonight, who came in from New York to be with her mom, which is wonderful. So thank you for doing that. Those of you who know me know that, I get out and about quite a bit. But I have to say, about every other event, I see Lynne Hayes Freeland right there. So she's definitely out in the community and very, very active, and I can tell you that for sure. And if you've ever approached her, whether it's on the show or just, out in the neighborhood, you have to come correct when you're talking to Lynne Hayes Freeland. You know? She's not just gonna take anything, so make sure you make sure you come, because if you don't, she will challenge you. But it's a challenge, it's a good challenge, and it's the kind of challenge we need to be doing for one another. And so we appreciate that leadership. But probably the most important thing, I think, when I think about Talk Magazine's Person of the Year, and why Lynne Hayes Freeland stands out for me, is because when I think of Lynne Hayes Freeland, I think about heart and soul. When I think about people's heart and soul, she really embodies that, she represents that, and I was so pleased to see that she was the recipient of this year's Talk Magazine Person of the Year. With no further ado, let's please join me in recognizing Lynne Hayes Freeland. Not sure which way it goes. Is it this way? There you go. Oh, I've got.
Boy, I feel overwhelmed already. A couple things came to my mind as I was sitting there today, and I looked at the achievers that are being recognized. I'm excited about our future. There is so much potential and talent in this room being recognized today that it is awesome. I can't thank Luther and Roxanne enough for this honor tonight. When I got your letter, I kept looking at it thinking, Person of the Year. And I don't get overwhelmed very often. And one of the things that I have been blessed with is organizations have recognized me. They've honored me. And it's interesting when I'm in a position like this, because when it is an award, a recognition that comes from my community, from a community that understands what I have dealt with in the last 42 years at KK, it takes on a whole different meaning. People see what you do on TV on a regular basis, but they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, day in and day out, and the battles we have to fight day in and day out. So this recognition means more than you'll ever realize. I want to thank all of you, because at some point in time along the way, you've either been on the show, you have watched the show, you have called me with a story, you have supported some effort of mine, and I can't do what I do without you. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank people like Lois Kane. I think Lois Kane has watched the Lynne Hayes Freeland show since I started doing the Lynne Hayes Freeland show. I want to thank my daughter. My daughter Kristen is here. My son Michael lives in Atlanta, and Kristen is in the process of moving to Atlanta. But I also know that if my son and my daughter weren't willing to be dragged along to every lunch and carnival event that happened, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. So I thank you, and you can tell your brother that I thank you, brother. I want to also take a minute just to acknowledge, because there are two things that I've been able to do since I've been at KDK. I feel like there are a lot of things you get to do that make a difference. But there's a segment we do called A Waiting Child that I've been blessed to do for 30 years, where we find adopted homes for special needs, hard-to-place children, the majority of whom are children of color. I'm pleased to say that 70% of the children we feature on that segment have been adopted. And there is nothing like that feeling of going down the street and having someone come up to me and say, Miss Lynn, I want you to meet my mom. She saw me on TV, and now I have a family. Nothing like that satisfaction. I hadn't even thought about this, but I want to just acknowledge Regina Brown, who went to grade school with me. And again, you talk about people who have supported you all along. Regina's always on our Facebook page. She's commenting. She's calling saying, where is that healthcare symposium you talked about last week? Because I'm coming to bring my son. That's the kind of support that is unique to us. And that's the kind of support that I am most grateful for. Lastly, I feel like standing up here, I'm standing on some very broad shoulders. I'm standing on the shoulders of, even in this business, people like Kathy Milton, who opened the doors for all of us. I'm standing on the shoulders of my mother, Lynne Hayes, who taught me that I could do anything I wanted to do. Standing on the shoulders of my grandmother, Lurleen Hall, who did day work my entire life and brought clothes home for my sister and I to wear from the families that she worked for so that we looked good when we went out. I know that I'm here because they prayed for me. And I am grateful for all of that love, support, and prayer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn, and we want you to know that we sincerely appreciate for all you do for us. I don't like to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, Sunday morning, but I do, yes. Right. I do I have to apologize because we sort of, at least I did, and got this kind of out of context, but it was great to have that in the middle of this presentation. We have some more presentations, just, blame it to my head and not to my heart. Okay, so our next presentation, I'm going to call back again Ms. Wanda Williams, who's going to make the presentation for Ms. Teri L. Gilmore. Is that right? Okay, come on back up. And while she's coming up, I love my friends at Highmark. Highmark Blues and Heritage Festival is September the 28th through the 30th. They're presenting the Sweet Honey in the Rock, Sunday, September 30th at 4:00 p.m. at the August Wilson Center. And if you want, it's not free, is it? If you want tickets, see.
Saturday's event, there's a whole bunch of artists. There's a whole bunch of artists who are performing Saturday afternoon, inside and outside of the August Wilson Center, and that is free.
Thank you. So remember, Sweet Honey in the Rock.
It's truly a privilege to be in the room tonight. I remember one encounter with Lynne Hayes Freeland when she after to Pittsburgh, about 12 years ago. And that was the one personal encounter that we had. I was in the room that night. So it's definitely a pleasure to see you in person again. And, following after Dr. Rueben Brock as the first African-American female to win a seat on City Council in the City of Washington, I can definitely connect to your story. And I support you and, I wish you, all the best. And I can definitely relate to that. Without further ado, as we know, we have another an awardee. Her name is Teri L. Gilmore. Teri grew up on the east side of the city of Pittsburgh. She is the mother of one son and the grandmother to 4 children. She describes herself as a dedicated social entrepreneur with a progressive outlook concerning community development. Her passion is fostering the development of the whole child as an individual within the family, community, and social context collectively. Teri was a researcher for WQED Math IQ qualitative and quantitative outcomes. She also has developed comprehensive programs addressing authentic tribulations within the context of vulnerable children, which were presented at various conferences. most noted at the 2011 Let's Move Pittsburgh Regional Symposium, the public health campaign led by Michelle Obama, and internationally as far as Hiroshima, Japan, and Copenhagen, Denmark, at the 9th and 11th International Conference on Environmental, Cultural, Economic, and Social Sustainability. That's quite a bit, very, very impressive as I read it. Affectionately known as Miss Teri, her expert knowledge of child development and EVP has allowed her to provide consultative services on the local, state, and federal levels, including with Department of Human Services, Office of Child Development and Early Learning. Teri has liberally committed herself to civic engagement, including Trying Together Advisory Council, Lions International, Braddock First Ward Committee Woman, Spreading the Word Ministry Board of Directors, and Ms. Gilmore holds a certificate in Black, Minority, and Ethnic Studies from CCAC, a Bachelor of Science in Child Development and Family Relations from IUP, and she is currently working toward a Master's of Science at the University of Pittsburgh School of Education. In 2013, Teri was licensed to preach. So, at this juncture, Teri L. Gilmore.
Smile.
I told the young lady that she made me feel important. I thank you, Mr. Luther and Ms. Roxanne. Those of you who know me know, I like to be the cheerleader for everyone else. It took me a whole month. Like, I was like you, Ms. Lynn. I kept looking at the letter thinking, who told them to put my name on here? And I still ask on today, how did you pick me? I thank you for your applause, and I thank God for who He made me to be. We've all heard the phrase, train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they will not depart from it. Most of us have heard children learn what they live. And we've learned at the end of that poem that if they learn acceptance and friendship, they ultimately learn to love the world.
Yes.
We have heard leave no child behind. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson, on his first State of the Union address, declared a declaration of war on poverty. And then in 1968, Martin Luther King, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., at the Poor People's Campaign, challenged our nation to stop ignoring the inequalities within our society. Those inequalities were on poverty, race, and even the effects of war. And because of those inequalities, we began to see the differences in social economic status, which leads to those obvious classes that we see today. 100 years from now, what will your contribution be to our children and ultimately to our society? Maslow's hierarchy of needs starts at the bottom where it just meets a child's most basic needs, and it hierarchies up. So finally, we hope that a child becomes self-actualized, where they become confident within their existence, within their environment, within themselves, and know that they matter in this world. And then we have Grafenbrenner's ecological systems model. And there you have the child, and it is right in the center. And there's all these rings that go around the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, and the macrosystem. All of these systems contribute to our children. And when they break down, our children break down. But when they're built up, our children are built up. So when we consider all that has been brought to our remembrance today, I ask you to begin to recognize
where your area of ability and expertise is, so that you can begin to reach into the life of the children that you encounter, whether it's children that walk down the street, children in your family, children who go to your church, where you work, because we all fit in that Grafenbrenner's ecological systems model. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drive, and I like nice cars. My friends know me, I don't want to seem like I'm being like a hypocrite up here. But they'll also tell you that I call a car, what? A thing. I tell them because things come and things go. But God has always blessed me with a beautiful car. But the world may be different because I was important in the life of a child. And I hope that you become just as important in the life of the children that you encounter. Thank you, Top Mag. Congratulations to all recipients.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I like nice cars too. Anybody here doesn't like nice cars? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay. Don't forget the TMAG voter project. You know, America is a country which produces citizens who will cross the ocean to fight for democracy, but won't cross the street to vote. So let's keep that in mind, okay? The next two honorees, I know two of them, or one of them, is a part of two, and I know they're from Aliquippa. I do know that. They're politicians. I used to be a lobbyist in my work life, so I love elected officials and politicians. And the other one, I knew her when she was born. So we're now going to have Ricardo J. Williams to announce them both. Come on, Ricardo. You know, one thing I want to do is, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. Talk Magazine Action Group says thank you to our reception sponsors, Excelsior Health, Highmark, and KDK TV. Let's give them a hand.
All right. How's everyone doing? Good. That's good. I want to thank Luther and Roxanne for bringing me forward to help present tonight, because I usually try to stay in the background and just do the work. I don't like to be in front of microphones or anything like that, so and I know I have to get used to that, I guess, because I do work for Mayor Peduto, and unfortunately he's out of town, and the proclamation, our deputy chief, Majestic Lane, was unable to make it today as well, so we will make sure, Roxanne and Luther, that we have the proclamations for you, okay? But one thing I do want to mention is that what we did was something very special this week in our city-county building. We were able to show all 57 years of Talk Magazine in our city-county building this morning. And that is something that, you know, when we were doing this project, and Mayor Peduto spoke a few months ago at one of the events, he said, we want to do something special for Roxanne and Ruben. And so this is what we did. We said, okay, let's do a whole display and celebrate what they do, okay? Because you figure there's nothing in the state of Pennsylvania that looks at, lifts up, builds up, and recognizes African-American leaders across the state. Do you know anybody? Do you know any organization who has done it for 57 years? Not one, right? And so this is a gem that we have here, and I think we should preserve it and talk with Luther and Roxanne about that. You know, this is part of our history here. Whether we believe it or not, we may not have this opportunity again. We need to preserve it and cherish it. And so I'm going to kind of switch up things like Ms. Dixon did and move to present for Donald C. Walker III. You talk about youth and kind of looking at his bio and the type of service that he's done with youth and mentoring youth over the years and so forth. I felt that it would be a nice compliment to what Dr. Gilmore was saying. Donald C. Walker is the son of Donald C. Walker Jr. and Sharon Walker, twin brother of Dwayne Walker, mayor of Aliquippa, and older brother of late Deidre M. Walker. Donald is a graduate of Aliquippa High School and obtained a Bachelor's of Arts in Communications, Media Production. While pursuing his studies at RMU, he met his wife Amy and had 3 wonderful children, Shania, Elijah, and Ariston. Donald had management positions at the Boone Township Giant Eagle and the Robinson Town Center, Walmart, where he received numerous accolades and exemplary performance reviews. Despite the level of success he achieved in the retail grocery industry, Donald chose to change careers and decided to dedicate his life to helping youth at risk as a therapeutic staff specialist at Western Side. He also works for the Aliquippa School District as a substitute teacher. His city council assignment is overseeing the city of Aliquippa's finances and spends his downtime coaching football, baseball, wrestling, while assisting the Parks and Recreations Department. Donald has continued to provide mentoring and guidance to youth for the past 16 years in his community. Unfortunately, the senseless death of his sister motivated his family to commit to community change and restoration. The special thing that he wants people to know is that his family created change in the community by leading by example the best way they knew. How? Through sports and living their lives in God's light. So Talk Magazine Awards, Donald C. Walker.
He came all 10 minutes.
We gotta tighten it up. We gotta tighten it up, right? All right. This is how politicians do, right? All right. You're up.
First and foremost, I want to thank you, Mr. Luther, Ms. Roxanne. I'm nervous. I'm the twin that really doesn't speak too often from behind the scenes. But first and foremost, thank God for this. Thank God for Talk Magazine. Thank y'all so much for doing this. Like he said, you don't get this. We fight hard for the notoriety of just doing parts of your community. And there's so much of the bad, but you don't get to see so much of the good and all these beautiful, colorful faces. I appreciate that. And I'm going to commend y'all, and I want to thank y'all for that. I want to thank my wife, Amy, black, yellow, green, and white, Amy. I love you. I don't think I could do anything in my community without you supporting me, my kids. I have 2 kids in college. One is in Valley Forge University, criminal justice degree. One is at CCBC, currently chasing an engineering degree. And my 11-year-old son, Ellison, who is 21 years old actually, a small body, but they keep me going. Everyone spoke, and first and foremost, I want to, Ms. Lynne Hayes, I got to tell you a joke real quick. You ain't know to talk to But my family, when kids go outside playing and someone get injured, and one person always told, and they always say, "Oh, here come Patty Burns," because they just rattle it off. But when someone told nicely, well, he knocked him down, but he didn't really hurt him. My grandma called him the Hayes Freeland. Just to let you know that. we spoke about different things, and what I want to touch on is something my brother said, and I'm God blessed by this man right here. Emotional. Man, you cry. But this man right here, see, God put things on you. They put something on you. And people say, I want to run because he ain't doing it, I want to do because he ain't doing it, but they don't put it in you. God puts it in you. And I don't think people understand that part of it. Everything you get put on, you can put on clothes, you put on a jacket, you can put on a nice car. But when he puts it in you, and he moves you to do it, I don't think it's a wall that anybody can stop you from standing in there. And you better move, because if you don't, God will make you move. He'll shake the tree a little bit. Some leaves gonna fall. And through this journey, some leaves have fell from us. But we stayed the course. It's about the city of Alcoa, it's about the movement of just changing it, renaissance and making it better. Through action, not just talk. You know, I brought my son in today, and I did not, you know, he's Alcoa, starts doing, he wanted to go to the football game, but I wanted him to see all these beautiful faces. And I wanted him to see how hard work pays off if you stay in the course. And whatever God puts into you to do, you do it the right way. Don't shortchange it, don't, because they'll come at you harder when you have a tan skin, when you have a dark skin, because they think you shortchanged it and you cheated it. We have worked hard. I'm pretty sure everybody in this room has worked hard for what they have, and the efforts they put in their communities, their school boards, the jobs they have. And I have. And I can't say I sacrificed a lot, but I gave a lot. And I think that's enough. And I keep giving. I don't know, Mr. Luther, Mr. Roxanne, I don't know if I deserve this award, but I can tell you this. I will honor it every day. I will keep it every day. That's the honor. And I will end this with this, and I want to figure out from this forward. My brother said something poignant to me yesterday, and it's been on my heart and head, and I don't prepare speeches, but God let it flow, so I let it flow. But he said to me, he said, we plant trees that we would never sit under the shade. We're planting trees that we won't even see a tire swing from. We are planting trees that our children will reap the benefits of. So when we said that, I said, you know what, you're right, brother. It's like we waiting for the sunlight, we waiting for the glass in the form, but we won't be here for that. So what do you do to make it better for someone else? What are you doing to make it better for your children? You know, and I thought about that, and I said, you know, we as human beings, we covet a lot. You know, this mine, that's mine, this me, this mine. And I don't mind planting a tree for someone else. And I hope y'all don't either. It seems like what I've read and the research I've done to talk about things I've heard about, my brother was honored. But we do a lot, black folk. We do a lot. And we need to be honored. We need to honor each other. So I'm going to challenge y'all today to say this. Pick 3 people from your community. Give them to Ms. Roxanne and Mr. Luther. Honor them, because we don't do it enough. We tear down social media as an avenue for wrong things a lot of times. But I'm asking y'all, before y'all leave today, the honorees, give them 3 names. And I'll challenge you to do one better, 1 female, 1 young person, 1 male. I'll challenge you that way. And let them sort them out. Let them pick and choose. Let them see it for themselves, because it's probably hard to pick at people because you don't want to be the same people because everybody's honoring them and everybody's doing certain things. But I think that if we give them 3 names of anybody in your communities, because it's hard. Like I'm in my equipment standing in front of y'all. There's no one here from Beaver County other than my folks and my brother and my kids and my wife. But I thank y'all nevertheless. I thank you nevertheless. But I would challenge y'all to, before you leave today, piece of paper, write down 3 names, give it to her and say, these are the people. I'm not saying they have to win, but I want you to take a look at, because they're doing a lot in our community, and they need to be recognized because they're not. That's right. God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Good job.
I didn't know if Ms. Dixon was going to come back in between, so any more announcements?
You're live right now. You're live on YouTube right now.
But definitely, last but not least, I want to present Summerlee. Summerlee is a lifelong resident of the 34th District, where she grew up in the North Braddock and Rankin neighborhoods and currently resides in Swisher. She's a proud graduate of Woodland Hills High School, Penn State University. I won't hold that against you, I'm a Penn guy. and Howard University School of Law, where she graduated in civil rights and constitutional law. While at Howard, Summer worked with the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund, where she was the Oliver Whitehill Fellow, and in the Office of General Counsel for the District of Columbia Public Schools. She also served as a student attorney in the Howard University School of Law, Civil Rights Clinic, representing and assisting clients with civil rights complaints. Since graduating law school, Summer has been a dedicated organizer, activist, and advocate for social justice. During the 2016 presidential election, she served as a field organizer in her home district for the Pennsylvania Democratic Party, where she recruited, managed, and led volunteers engaged in the direct voter contact. She also has worked in community and labor organizing, advocating for workers' rights, and a $15 minimum wage. Summer has been a leader in the recent struggles to bring justice to the Woodland Hills School District. During the 2017 primary elections, she spearheaded successful write-in campaigns to bring immediate change to the Woodland Hills School District after the board's failure to address repeated instances of violence against students from police officers and school administrators. She currently serves on the Woodland Hills Commission on Youth Development and Learning, where she has zealously pushed for increased cultural competency training for teaching staff, the elimination of armed police presence in schools, and a commitment from the district to decreasing the disproportionate punishment of minority children and children with disabilities. Top magazines, Sunday. Yeah, it does. All right. Huh? You're important. You're important, really. Yeah, that's like that.
Good evening. I guess this is wrapping up the end of the day, so this is a lot of pressure to go last. Thank you so much, Ms. Roxanne and Mr. Luther, for recognizing me. It's still very weird being recognized, and I have to admit that it's because my load was very light. It would seem that it is not to say that we didn't do a lot of work. One of the things that wasn't mentioned in this very lengthy, unnecessarily lengthy bio is that I'm actually the Democratic nominee for House District 34. So in November, barring the most well-run write-in campaign ever, I will be the first Black woman to ever go to the State House from Western Pennsylvania. Admittedly, that's a really weird thing to clap about, because on one hand, it's great that's finally a hurdle that we finally gotten over, but on the other hand, we have to recognize that there have been no other Black women to do this yet. But I will say that when I said my load was light, and I wish that other people were being recognized, or maybe I haven't done enough yet. I stood on the shoulders of so many people, some in this room, some whose family members are in this room, and many throughout Pittsburgh who did this first, who were in politics and forged a path that made it so much easier for me to kind of just walk over the finish line. And beyond that, I had hundreds and hundreds of volunteers who helped with our campaign, thousands of donors. So this wasn't just me, but I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to represent it, to almost represent Western Pennsylvania. I want to encourage people, and I always do this when I speak, how important it is, not just to vote, but when we're looking at this room and some of the folk who are honored today, these are people who stepped their neck out. They went out on a limb and they didn't know, I can't speak for everyone, but I didn't know what would come of it. It's scary business sometimes, going into the public eye. It can be really intimidating
to step out there, seeing the political landscape that we have right now, watching Trump and watching everything that's going on in our country, and to say that I'm going to go out there and do that, some people would think it's crazy. So it's important that when it's our people especially, when it's black folk who go out there and do that, in an environment that black folk are not invited to get into politics. Because let's be real, in Pittsburgh, we are not invited into the political realm. We had to kick these doors down. So when you see a young black person, an old black person, whatever, when you see them come out, get behind them. Because it takes a lot to win a campaign, it takes a lot to run a campaign. And if we're really gonna be about the work of building political power in Western Pennsylvania and building up our communities, and really just moving our people, moving our district, moving our state forward, we have to be the first ones to step up and say that I'm going to believe in them, that I'm going to put my neck out there with them, because we know that we can't do it alone. So oftentimes I say, and I talk about the fact, because I heard it so much growing up when our elders say that our ancestors died for us to have the right to vote. And I just want to dispel that myth. And I've been using my campaign to dispel this myth. That's not necessarily true. Your ancestors didn't die for you to have the right to vote. And also, your civic duty doesn't end at the ballot box. We have to vote, yes. It's important that we vote, but it's even more important that we have someone to vote for. So our ancestors actually died for us to have access to seats of power that we don't have now, because it doesn't do us anything if we have but the lesser of two evils to vote between before. Or like me, the lesser of one, because my opponent hadn't even had someone run against him in over a decade. So I encourage everybody here should know a politician, and not just the middle class among us, not just the elite among us. We should all know a politician. In every community we should know one. In every community we should be raising up one. Everybody here has talked about the importance of mentoring a kid. I had kids on our campaign who worked on our campaigns, who organized. These kids are brilliant. They can absolutely be the next woman or man, black person, maybe in Washington County, maybe in the Mon Valley to come out of here, maybe in Aliquippa to run, to win, maybe the next president, but they won't be able to do that if it's not us, if we don't start here in this room supporting our own and really just building them up and feeding them to us. So I urge you, please, when you leave here, after you've done the councilman's assignment of picking your 3 people who need to be recognized, please also pick 3 people who you think can run. Plant that seed, because in 2018, on November 6th, I'll be the only black woman on a ballot. If you don't live in District 34, you don't have a black woman to vote for in 2018. In 2019, in May, in 2019, there will be 640-something seats open. 640 seats, 640 opportunities for a black man or woman to get on that ballot, to win, to change your community, to change our county. That's county council, city council, borough council, school board, VA. Please, when you go home, we don't have that much time. Go and find those people in your community who's already been working, who's already very well qualified, those folk who don't know they're going to run, didn't ever think that they could run. Let them know that it can be them, and that we're waiting for them, and that we have people in our communities that are ready to support them. So thank you so much, and once again, I'm definitely honored for this.
That was wonderful. She told y'all. I mean, we have had some of the best speakers that I've seen. Not only did they speak well, but they told us truth. So we're very happy that they were here, and we didn't even give you the paper, Luther and Roxanne, but you made some wonderful choices tonight, and we sincerely appreciate it. This is live streaming, and if you go to YouTube with 18 RICCO, and then Talk Magazine Minority Awards Reception, you can pick up this entire program tonight. Just have a couple of things to say. I love elected officials and politicians, and you know, in politics, you're always talking about what's the difference between a liberal and a conservative. A liberal is just a conservative that hasn't been mugged yet. What's the difference between baseball and politics? In baseball, you're out if you're caught stealing, or fornicating, or lining up with Putin, you know. You're out in baseball, but in here, you're here. Okay. I think that's everything. I enjoyed. I look forward to it again. If you choose me again, if you choose somebody next year, I won't be able, but I do enjoy coming back doing this every year. And now I'm going to call up Roxanne to close us out. I just want to say, I'm not sure if it's even 8 o'clock tonight, you know, I go to church every Sunday. My church gets out early. And then I go to another one because I like the message. And they go on to like forever. So, you know, I'm serious about it. I love the church. But everything, you know, you have to keep things in context. And things can be said well and timely. And we proved that tonight. Did we not? We proved that tonight. So thank you. We're out here at 8 o'clock. Come on, Roxanne.
So I usually just come and say goodnight and wish everyone well and safe travels. After watching the people here this evening, I wanted to make sure that we take with us what we've seen here tonight. So I wrote some notes. And the first part of this note says to thank our sponsors. So I would like to do that as well. And Highmark, you all are always supportive of our community events, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. So, looking at my notes, yes, we had some outstanding achievers today. So when you listen to Teri, you and I have to sit and talk, because some of that, it was so far over my head what you do, I just don't even understand. So you're gonna have to help me with that. Our elected officials, you know, we had Rueben, and we have Rikell, and we had Miss Summer, and without a doubt, you'll be going to Harrisburg. So, Rueben, we have to encourage you to be a politician and elected officials more than I can comprehend. We work with elected officials a lot, but to actually be out there and do that, it takes a lot of work. So, Rikell, you know what it is, and you're going to do more as well. So, it's starting to blossom, and it's going to grow. My hope is that we can all talk to each other. We have a mayor from Aliquippa, councilman from Aliquippa. It's there, it's starting, and it's our job to help you. It's our job to knock on doors, make phone calls, get online, $3 donations, $5 donations, repetitive donations. Black candidates need black money. So remember that. It doesn't matter how much. Voter registration. If anybody's in here right now that is not registered, if you go out to the front table, we have forms. You can register right out here if you're not registered. So it's not a problem. More importantly, we have registration drives. Luther and I have been at community events, working. We have people working with us because we can't go to everything, but we have to go vote. So we can get registered all day long. If we do not go vote, it won't matter. Our millennials, our young ladies here tonight, young men here tonight, millennials, you have to vote. And you guys got to talk to your friends. They get involved, and they may even knock on doors. They may even make some calls. And you don't need a lot. You have a cell phone, you can make calls from your home. You don't need anything but that phone. So, okay, I'm getting out of it. But we need to help each other, teach each other, whether it's in Beaver County, Allegheny County, the Mon Valley, or when we go to Harrisburg and Lancaster, and Philadelphia, wherever you're at, reach out, talk to somebody, help somebody. Okay. But when we were looking at this, and I'll be honest, it was really when I started looking at you, Miss Lynne. Yeah. trying to really understand what it means for our achievers. See what you did? It's all your fault I'm getting on. But this is what came to me, and I read it to Luther, and he said, I like that. And anybody that knows Luther, he's like real calm, cool, and collected. Our achievers. Ms. Londa, what did you say, the Talk family? Yes. Our achievers are dedicated global citizens that live in our communities. So thank you for sharing your lives. So you all be faithful and home. Thank you so much for coming. And if we can ever help, just call us. We will come out and help you. Absolutely. So I'm getting a signal here from Mr. Rikell. We'd like to have all the awardees, please, come up so we can get a group shot. She got me all emotional. We're going to ask Reverend Monroe to come up and give the benediction before we leave out of here.
Please stay standing.
Brothers and sisters, when you go to church on Sunday morning, tell the deacons and tell the pastors that we've got to get involved in this political process, that we've got to push our people to the vote, to the polls to vote, and they've got to vote for the right people because our communities in many ways are going to hell in a handbasket, and I'm convinced the only way to save it is going to be the black church. The black church must step up and be the church, salt and light. Now may grace, mercy, and peace from God the Father, God the Son, and God the ever-blessed Spirit rest, rule, and abide with us all the rest of this evening, tomorrow, and all of our tomorrows. And the people of God said, Amen.
How do I get on YouTube? What, is there a code or something? Yeah, sure.
Would you all please come over and take your pictures? All our awardees.
Always have something in there. Yeah, right. Should always have something there. No something though. You were on. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Congratulations to you guys.
I messed up.
Gotta let the pros take the photos. Okay, just watch the thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you good? Yeah, you good. You good?
Will all our presenters come up, please? Council lady from... Frazier, we'd like for you to come up with us.
Oops, relax. You okay? You good? I want to have the food court. Oh, nice, nice. That's great. Let me put this down. Where you want us, sir? Right on either side. On either side. That's okay.
Nowhere to look. The presenters, please come up rapidly.
Go on the side.
Wait, Mom.
Ladies and gentlemen, look straight ahead right here, and smile. And please sit right there.
Booster, Roxanne. Booster.
See that? I didn't even have to tell Booster, he bought his check. It's all trade, it's all trade. This way, big smile, and... All right, now, wait a minute. Honorees, you guys stay, Booster, Roxanne stay, everybody else. Smile. Far back, keep on going. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Yeah, perfect. That's it. All right, everybody look this way, big smiles right here, and we're ready for you to walk in. Don't block the camera because you're still lashing right there. Yeah, that was Edmund's back. Still post that on your page.
What a wonderful evening. There you go. Just I was doing it. Congratulations. 7 years. You know, they don't always, sometimes it's once or twice, you know.